Hello. Hi everyone. Welcome to the channel. Imagine you are setting up a restaurant and you need a recipe book that is clear, simple, and easy for everyone to follow. Correct. You went to a restaurant and you got a book in which all the menu items are written in a predefined set manner. That is what exactly YAML does. A recipe book for computers. It tells system what to do in a clean, human readable way. So if your journey is from DevOps to Kubernetes, Docker, or anything in the automation pipelines, correct? YAML is everywhere. But don't worry. I know at starting it seems like a confusion, but in this series, we will break it down step by step. There are generally 4 to 5 steps in which we need to follow, which are over your screen, correct? By the end, you will not only understand YAML, but you will be able to use it confidently in your real-time projects. And there's a surprise at the end of the session also. We will be giving we will be creating a code in which we will be validating whether the YAML which is written is perfect or its valid form or not. So let's get started. So stick around, subscribe if you haven't, and let's start this YAML journey. So let's get started with YAML. Correct. So as per the definition, like what is exactly YAML? So YAML stands for YAML ain't markup language. Correct. Stands for YAML ain't markup language. Now it is a funny recursive name, but what it really means is YAML is not about designing web pages like HTML. It's about writing data. Writing data in such a way that humans can easily read and computers can easily process. Just think of it in a simpler way or the clean alternative to XML and JSON without brackets, without extra clutter. That is why YAML has become super popular in the tech world, especially for the configuration files. Now, YAML is something which is created in 2001 by Clark Evans. Correct. And then we got it more and more improvised version. The goal was to provide a cleaner and more intuitive alternative to XML and JSON for configuration and exchanges of data. Correct. The idea is emphasize that YAML is more about data, not about the markup or the presentation. So we can say that why YAML is getting more popular. So we can came to the conclusion that YAML is getting popular because of its human-friendly nature. That is, it is easy to read and write, which we will be seeing in our upcoming session. It doesn't use syntax like brackets. Okay, it supports comments. It is wide. This is the main reason it is widely adopted in DevOps and cloud industry, and it is little bit close to JSON because it also follows the same structure of key value pair. Okay, so at the end, if we would like to conclude the definition of a YAML, we can say YAML is a human-friendly data serialization language which was created in 2001 by Clark Evans, Igni.net, and Orion Ben Kiki. It is designed as an alternative to JSON and XML. It became popular because of its simplicity, readability, and support for comments. Now, let's try to understand the extensions which it can has. So it has it we can use .yaml. We can also use YML. So let's get started with our hands-on session. Okay. So for that, I have just created a simple GitHub repo where you will find all the code related to this. Let's go back to our repo. Hmm. So right now you can see this repo has nothing. This has just license and readme file. Now I'm going to clone this repository, and you can also do the same thing. After cloning this repository, I will be creating a new file and we will be doing all the practice over that new file. Okay. So for that, let me just fire up my command prompt. Let me go back to my directory where I can utilize this thing. Let me do it. YAML crash learning. Let me do it learning YAML. Okay, now we are inside learning YAML, and let me see what does it has. It has nothing. Let me try to clone this repository. Okay, now okay. Okay. Okay, just a second. Let me see this one. Okay, now we are inside this thing. Okay, get it. Now let me do one thing. Let me just create a file. Let me just create a file and let me name the file as YAML, and then we will be learning the different ways in which we can utilize our YAML part. So let's get started by creating a file. Learning. Okay, let's say hello or say file name dot YAML. Okay. Now let me just open the file. Let me see if the file is created. So I will see, okay, yes, the file is created. Let me open the file and I will utilize my notepad, or I will use notepad plus plus to open this file just once. Okay. Now this is the file which is open in front of me. Now let's try to understand from this perspective, our syntax perspective. Now, as we know, YAML uses space for indentation and it uses a key value pair. It means it can't have a single key different times. It will have a single key with a value. So it follows a combination of key value pair. Let me try to give it something as topic. Let me give a name. So can you see the moment I had given this dots, it has given me its color. Okay, let me say YAML. Now YAML is a string. It is a string. Now there are two different ways in which we can define a string. Either we can define it in this way because it is a single word. But if we have more than one word, so in that case I will use double quotes as learning YAML. Okay, and that's it. Let me give it the different extension. Can you see the moment I did this, it came back extension as YAML. Okay, now this is string. If I make it as 1, it will come like this. If I make it as 1.1, it will come like this. So for different numbers, the focus is more not toward number but to understand like what is actually happening behind the scenes. So let me give it like YAML. Okay, now let me try to save this file. The moment I have saved this file, you can see that this is how we use our simple and basic syntax in YAML. This is something called as key, and every key has a value. Every key has a value. Now, here what is happening? A key is having a single value. That is how the basic of YAML comes into the picture, and we call this as key value pair. Now, this is something which we call it as key value pair. Can you see? Now, let us try to understand deep dive further because a key can have a value, but value can also be a key value pair. So let us try to understand in that manner. Extension YAML. Now, what we can have? Let me say different extensions or say other extensions. Correct? We can have other extensions also. So if we have other extension, then we will use a tab. What I have used? I have used a tab here. Or you can use a single space. After single space, I can type YAML and I can type as YML. Now, this will also work as a list. Now this will be treated as a list where we have a key as this one, and this will be called as its values, and this has become an object. Can you see? The moment I can open it, I can close it from here. Now this has become an object. Similarly, I can define this thing in the other fashion also. Let me do one thing. Let me try coming back. So can you see the moment I have entered, it has space here. But if I want to use another key, then I need to come back to the same orientation. Then I will type contact, 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 and then again I will give a single space. Now, what I'm going to create this thing, I'm going to create a nested object. Now, this is something which we call as nested object or nested key value pairs, in which this particular key will be creating as an object in which I will be utilizing a different key and values. I will type email as test@test.com and phone as 12345678890. Okay. Now, this particular thing here, what we have seen here, we have seen how we can create a list. But here, this is something called as objects, which has a nested key value pair. Correct? Now we can also follow same manner as contact, which contact, and then the different thing. Okay, we can have different list of objects. For example, right now I can see that I have a contact which is email and phone number. Now I can also do one thing. I can create a key that is employee. Now every employee will have its contact number. Correct? So I will type, but remember to give space. The moment you give space, can you see? The moment I give space, it has become an object. Now I will type list because I can have different employees with me. We have seen how to create a list. This is how we create a list. Then, what is the key value pair we have? What is the key value pair we have? We have name as Ram and role as C. The moment I have given enter, it has came here, but it should come below this. So I will type space and I will type role as developer. Then I will create another list in that. I will come back here. Again, I will type name. I'll type rows and role. I will type as manager. Yeah. So this is how we have learned what from where we started. We started from a simple key value pair. We started from a simple key value pair. We learned a key which has a value. Then we saw, okay, a key can also be of a list type which has multiple values. Then we saw how to create a list of values. Then we saw how to create an object which can have its own key value pair. Then we created a nested object in which we understood, okay, now we have created an object, but how to combine a list? So we combined this one and created a list of objects. So this is the major thing to be understood in YAML. If we know these proper lines, which is key value pair, how to create nested, how to create objects, how to create nested object, and how to create a list, most of things will come into the picture, because rest everything is dependency, like how the things are dependent upon each other. Let's see at our last topics, or you can say the how to provide multi-line things here. Okay, so let's take an example. Let me come back here and type as bio. So and give this thing here. Now bio. Now we have something called as pipe indicator. Okay, now pipe indicator denotes, okay, this is something which is a string. Okay, let me come back here and let me type it from here below as rows is a manager who is curious about tech and loves learning new updates and enjoys sharing them. Correct? Now, there are two different ways in which we can write or provide multi-line strings. The first thing is this one. The second way is string. What should I say? Description. Okay. We can use this operator also. After this operator, whatever we are going to type it here, it is going to be treated as a string. So basically what is happening behind the scene is the moment it comes here and it comes to the next line. Now this will be treated as a space and this will be treated as a space. Same thing goes here. This will be treated as a space. Now this is something which we have learned in depth. Okay. Now let us try to see this over the chart and then we will proceed further. Okay. I've saved this file. I will come back here and okay, I will see we have seen that extensions can be .yaml or YAML. The basic syntax, how it is basically it is case sensitive because it uses space as an indentation, not tabs. Okay, we have the key value pair. This is how the key value pair looks like. These are the nested objects, how the nested objects look like for the list of arrays. For example, which we have seen here, this is a list of arrays, this is a list of objects. And then we have something here as list of objects. Then we have the multi-line strings. Okay. So this is something which we have learned till now. But whatever we have learned till now, we will try to validate this with a simple Java library and see if in future, if somebody writes a JSON, if somebody writes a YAML file, is the YAML file correct or not? So we will be getting the validations from our written code. So in the upcoming sessions, we will be creating an application to validate whether the written YAML is correct or not. So, but before that, let's try to push this back to our repository. Okay. Let me see git status. Okay. Let me add this file. Git add file name.yaml. Now let me check the status. Okay, we have this file with us. Now we will try to provide a message here. What can be the message name? Okay, a sample YAML file. Sample YAML file. Let me enter it here. Okay. Now let me push back to the origin. Okay. Git push. Okay. Okay, it is done. Let me check it here. Okay, we got the file. Okay, so you can come back here anytime and you can see about the codes which we have used. Okay, now let's fire up the IntelliJ and let's get started.